All right, so I'm back, and today we're going to do another rant of the week. And this week, I thought what I'd do is do my top 10 figures I would like to see done in the near future. But because that wouldn't take too long, so I'm going to do. I decided I'm going to do top 10 Transformers I want to see and top 10 Marvel Legends I'd like to see in the near future. Now, this is for Hasbro wish list. Things that I know Hasbro could do and potentially, pull off decently. I will never do a top 10 MP list of once because that list would be so long, it just would be insane. Whereas Chug is actually, we're kind of rounding it out here. For the most part, what we got to do now is like upgrade certain characters and stuff like that. And look, there's a little bit of a collection going on back there. Sorry, that's what I got. They're back there. But anyway, so I thought that'd be an interesting thing to do. And this is also not third party because, again, if we did third party, the list would just go on forever. Especially now since third party is going more towards MP scale. So, it's just kind of one of those. It's kind of hard to sit here and say, what those would be. But for the Hasbro figures, I think it's actually pretty easy. Things that I think would be cool, especially with Titan Wars on the way. It's like, while I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, this is going to be the best line ever, if they do it right, it can be a good line. So, first off, Leader Coneheads. I would like to see that Leader Starscream mold get retooled into Leader Coneheads. Or a new mold. Like a complete redesign because the wings are all, different designs for the most part. I know Thrust they could probably do pretty easily with that mold because he's not all that different from the other Seekers, but Dirge and Ramjet might be a little bit more tricky to pull off, but it could be done, I'm sure, with the right amount of retooling. So that's number one I would like to see is the Coneheads, because the Coneheads aren't getting enough love when it comes to Hasbro. Last year we got the Fall of Cybertron Seekers. Starting last year and into this year we've been getting the Legends class Seekers. And we've already got, Skywarp, Thundercrackers, Starscream. And the Legends, Skywarp, Thundercrack, Starscream. The MP scale, we're getting Starscream here pretty quick here. We got Thundercracker not too long ago. Skywarp was exclusive, but we got him. We also got Sunstorm and Acid Storm. So I would like to see the Coneheads. They haven't been getting any love. The Rainmakers have been getting all the love. And then with the Leader class mold, again, we got Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp. Not in that order, but... and I'm sure soon we'll see an Acid Storm surface at some point. I think those would be cool as an exclusive or something for the Rainmakers, but the Coneheads are necessary characters. The Rainmakers aren't as necessary as the Coneheads are. So that's what I would like to see. Number one, the Coneheads. They need some love. Number two, I would like to see, and I'm kind of torn with this, with the scale on this one, because there's options. Ideally, I would like to see some of these figures in new scale, somewhere in between Leader and Titan class. I know we're not going to get that. You never know, we could, but it's either Leader or Titan class for this figure, and I think Leader would be acceptable for some, except for the scale freaks. But either way, I would still like to see this. Leader class Omega Supreme. He hasn't gotten any love from Hasbro directly. We got the Year of the Snake one but that's it. We haven't gotten any new Omega Supreme molds since Energon, since the Year of the Snake figure first came out as the Omega Supreme from Energon, and that was not even meant to really, aside from the name, it wasn't really meant to be Omega Supreme from G1. So I'd like to see a leader class Omega Supreme. Titan class, I think that would just put them too big. If they could make a scale that's right in between the two, sell it for like $90, $90 to $100, $80, $90. Then the Titans can still be the 125 or whatever. I think that would be a perfect tier. You got your leaders, you got your Supreme, we'll call them, and then you got the Titan class ones. I think that would be really cool. Not that it's going to happen. I think a leader class would be preferable in my point, because the leader class still are bigger than most of the other ones. Not big enough. Although a Titan class one to go up against Devastator would be nice. And logistically, that would actually scale better than the Metroplex did. So, I guess, win some, lose some. I guess it really depends on what your opinion on that matter goes. Next one, Titan class Overlord. I know he's big in IDW, and everyone's excited for the MMC one to come out. To me, he's not a character for me. He's not one of my characters. He's not the G1 cartoon. I'm not trying to be a purist with the G1 cartoons, but he wasn't a G1 cartoon for me. And I haven't really gotten into the IDW comics enough to sit here and be like, I need an Overlord in my collection. I just don't. So, I'll probably try and do the giveaway for that figure so that we could take a look at him once that one gets closer to being released. But in the meantime, if he was released by Hasbro in a leader class to Titan class line, I think I'd totally be all over that. In a heartbeat. I wouldn't mind that. But a third party offering, that's going to be a lot more expensive. I mean, especially with MMC being the ones that make it, because you think they make a large Voyager for $100-something. Imagine how much a much bigger figure is going to be. So, will it be worth it? Yes. Will the quality be good? It's MMC. Of course, it's going to be good. But for me, it's not a very good choice. But if they did Hasbro, I'd be all over it. Alright. Next up, Legends Kickback. I'm a little perturbed that we haven't gotten a Legends Kickback yet. We did Shrapnel first, then there was Bombshell, but no Kickback. Fall of Cybertron was the reverse problem. They had Kickback, but no Bombshell or Shrapnel. I mean, what the hell? Come on. And third party, come on, step up your game. Hasbro gave us a Fall of Cybertron and Insecticon. We want the rest. I mean, I do. I don't know about everyone else, but come on, let's get the rest going. Maybe Planet X will do that after they finish their Dinobots. And let's get a Kickback for the Legends. I mean, if Hasbro ain't gonna do it, I'm looking at DX9 does the little minifigures. There's a great opportunity for them to do something that's actually relevant to the Chug collectors, not the Legends collectors, but the Chug collectors. So that would be really cool if they did that. Will they? Probably not. But we need a Kickback. I want a Kickback. I think anybody that started collecting these Legends figures wants a Kickback, and it's kind of irritating we haven't got one yet. And speaking of Legends, a wheelie. I'd like a new wheelie, please. I'm not a wheelie fan, but I think even with their limited design abilities for their Legends figures, I can promise you right now it's going to be infinitely better than the X-Transbot Ollie figure. So, number 6 is going to be super easy for him to do. A leader class G2 Megatron. I would love to see that. I mean, it's already made. It's made. Hell, you can go to the store and make one, for $100. You buy the Armada one and you buy the G1 version. You get the G1 version's head, pull it off, and pop it onto the Armada one and throw some G2 logos on it, and you're good to go. But I would like to see an official release of it. I just think that'd be pretty cool. They can make an exclusive or something like that, but I would buy it. I would buy it. Okay, let's see. Number 7. This is a twofer. I would like to see it as a leader class figure. Optimus Prime, a G1 style Optimus Prime. Now, I don't want the Optimus by himself to be a leader class figure. I want him to be a good sized Voyager, like a modern Voyager, maybe a little bit bigger. They can get a little carried away here because they're going to be selling it in a leader class box with a trailer. I would like to see a G1 trailer finally be released to the masses for a Voyager Prime. I think that would be perfect. This Combiner Wars Prime is not good enough, and the Classics Prime is just a little too small now. So I would like to see one that's a little bit bigger, that would fit with the modern Voyagers, and it comes with the trailer. And then they could sell it in a leader class box, get their leader class money. Or, relatively same idea, but instead of the trailer, battle armor, and we make a Power Master Optimus Prime. Because we haven't had a Power Master Optimus Prime in a long time, not an official one. And having an official Power Master Optimus Prime to go toe-to-toe against the leader class tank Megatron would be perfect. I would love it. I think that'd be great. Number 8, IDW Metal Hawk. Now this is a character where I have no affection towards. I mean, I definitely would buy it and take a look at it, but it's just one of those. I know he's been relevant in the IDW comic books, so I'd like to see him get some attention figure-wise. Now, I know he was a Power Master, I believe, or a Pretender. No, I think he was a Pretender, but I don't think he has his Pretender shell in the comics. So, a new mold of that would be pretty cool. I would like to see that. Or, now this is going to sound really crazy because I was looking him up on TF Wiki when I thought of him, and looking at his old G1 toy, minus the shell, but looking at like the toy and the artwork for the toy, it's almost identical. I mean, go look at it. His jet mode is almost identical to the Generations Blitzwing jet mode. They could repaint the Blitzwing into Metal Hawk. I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, not that Blitzwing mold. But I like the mold. I thought it was a decent mold. It has its issues, yes, and that'll give, who was it, Dr. Wu, a chance to brush off those molds for the shoulder fixes one more time. Number 9, the Deluxe Insecticons from G1. I would like to see them be retooled and repainted from the Legends Insecticons. Just because they were bigger in the G1 toys doesn't mean they need to be bigger in the new ones, or in the new ones. So it would be kind of cool just to see those guys too. Especially if maybe they did like a 3-pack and sold it for like the price of a Deluxe. Or a Voyager. That'd be pretty cool. Voyager box with the Insecticons inside. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, it would be that's where your mind sits there and realizes that 3 of the little Legends figures. Do I have one sitting right here? I do not. But 3 of the little Legends figures are actually $5 more than a Voyager. Just kind of sad, but cram 3 of them in there and make it a $5 discount as the Deluxe Bugs as a Voyager. I think that'd be pretty cool. Because then I'd buy multiple versions of it and use those as clone troopers. So yeah, that'd be a great idea. And number 10, I would like to see, and this is my idea of a perfect scale for this character. I know a lot of people are going to argue with me on this one, but I would like to see leader class Scorponok from the G1. Headmaster and everything. Now, I know a lot of people are like, what? He's, city master and all that stuff, but for me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you look at the different sizes in between him and Fortress Maximus in the cartoon, yeah, they're the same size. Okay, fine. But if you look at it logistically, Scorponok is a single headmaster. One guy, one regular sized human, or he's not human, but you know what I mean, transforms and turns into his head. And that's Scorponok's head. I think he had a little bit of a helmet that he plugged on for the toy. But that was it. Fortress Maximus, on the other hand, had the guy that turned into the head of a full-size Transformer who turned into a head, and that turned into the head for Fortress Maximus. So he should be a lot bigger than Scorponok. Even if that robot is small, think of my head as a full-size Transformer. Even if I have a small head, whoever's got, this is still a full-size Transformer. I mean, it's still, think about that. I mean, it just makes no sense. It would definitely be bigger, especially if they make a Titan class, Fortress Maximus. I would like to see him be that scale versus Scorponok as a leader scale. So they could still fight, but it would be better if he was fighting. So, I know, Scorponok and Grimlock have a rivalry. So how could Scorponok have a rivalry with Grimlock if he's a city? See my problem here? So yeah, he turns into a city, but he also turns into a big scorpion too. I always like to think that some of the bigger city bots, or some of the smaller city bots, more or less turned into battle stations for mini bots. That's how I always, and even the Toy World Fortress Maximus, I think that was a perfect size for mini bots, because having everybody turn into giant cities that the full size bots can fight inside just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it'd be kind of cool to see a Scorponok the size of the Megatron, the size of Jetfire, the size of the Power Master Optimus Prime I was talking about, that I would like to see. It'd be cool to see him in that scale with the rest of the big boys. Ultra Magnus and them. Now the Seekers, on the other hand, I don't think they should have been leader class to begin with. It throws everything out of whack. I think they needed Voyager class figures, and I really wish they would get Voyager class figures. But that's another issue for another day. Now, yes, I know Trypticon is not on my list, but I think that he just goes without saying. So it would have been a waste of of what I would like to see, because everyone wants to see Trypticon, and it's like, I think if we don't see Trypticon, I think this is where Hasbro will lose a lot of their fanboys. Now, there's two figures, sort of, that I do not want to see anything of in the near future. As much as I would like to see Voyager Seekers, I don't want to see any Seekers. Any of the main three Seekers, anyway, for a while. Because we just got the Fall Cybertron one. I think mostly everybody's kind of was burned out from the Classics one. Classics set. And they just retired the mold. But, I mean, after the whole fiasco of finding the Thundercracker, a lot of people were burned out on that. We had the Fall Cybertron Seekers. I think I just mentioned them. And then we had the Legend Seekers. And then we have the Leader Seekers. So, I mean, we have 4 sets and not too big of a time frame. So it'd be kind of cool not to see them for a while. Just forget about the Seekers. Let's move on to something else. I mean, aside from Coneheads, because Coneheads would be cool to see, especially if they were new molds. Maybe make the Coneheads as Voyager Seekers first, and then a little ways down the line, then they can retool those into the classic Seekers with Voyager scale. I think that'd be pretty cool. But do something else first. Let's get some other figures out, because I'm tired of seeing Starscream. I hate to say that because I love Starscream. I love Me the Seekers. I just think we need to move on. And the other one is the obvious choice of Bumblebee. I don't want to see Bumblebee. I really, really don't want to see a Bumblebee for a while. I know we'll see it in RID, but I don't look at the RID toys, so, we're good. Make as many Bumblebees for RID as you want. Just leave Combiner Wars out of it and Titan Wars, because think about it. Here's what we're going to get if we get a Bumblebee in Combiner Wars or Titan Wars. We're going to either get a Combiner Bumblebee. Think about that. Then somebody's going to go out and buy like all the limbs as Bumblebee, and then they'll have a Bumblebee Combiner, Bumbletron. So I don't want to see that. I do not want to see that. And if we do Titan Wars, we're going to get a Voyager Bumblebee or a Titan class Bumblebee that's retooled out of like Metroplex or something like that with big wheels stuck on his shoulders. It's going to be horrible, and let's face it, they'll make any opportunity to make Bumblebees as big as they want. Hell, they made a Leader class Bumblebee for the movies. Why can't they make a Titan class Bumblebee for the kids? Ugh. I know they're supposed to be geared for kids, but I think even the kids are like, who's Bumblebee? Why do we care about Bumblebee? Can we go see something better, more awesome? Alright, so there's my Transformer list. And because this was kind of short, I'm going to move on to my top 10 Marvel Legends I'd like to see over the next near future. First up, I'm going to start off, I'll start off with the ones I want. Number 1, Doppelganger. That's right, Doppelganger. I would love to see a Doppelganger. We haven't had a Doppelganger in a very long time. I think I know it was before Marvel Legends. I think it was the Web of Spider-Man series. Back when they were 5 inches instead of 6 inches. Long time ago. That's how long it's been since we got a good Doppelganger. Or a Doppelganger. He was a good figure, don't get me wrong. But I think Marvel Legends would definitely be able to do it better. So yeah, I would like to see a Doppelganger. And if you do the retool right, then maybe you could do... Because you always got to think of retools with Hasbro when it comes to stuff like this. If you do the Doppelganger, then maybe you could do that. There's one of Mr. Sinister's guys from the X-Men that had 4 arms, so maybe you can kind of retool it to that. Or there's the Man Spider from the early 90s cartoon Spider-Man. That'd be kind of cool to see retooled from Doppelganger. Number 2. A Build-A-Figure Apocalypse that is about the size of a Hulk, but don't use a Hulk mold. Apocalypse is such a major character, he deserves a fresh mold, I think. Recycle that later on down the road if you want to, but I think Apocalypse definitely deserves a new mold. It's been a long time since Apocalypse got any love in the Marvel Legends line. I know he got his own Build-A-Figure back in the day where he was about the size of a Sentinel, and he got his own figure back in the day. But I would like to see one, a fresh one. Brand spanking new. I think that would be a pretty good one to see. Number 3 is one, as far as I know, hasn't gotten any attention since the old cartoon, is Avalanche from the X-Men cartoon. I would love to see an Avalanche figure. Because for me, I always watch the old X-Men cartoon. I was watching it the other day. I've got it like right here. But for me, the Brotherhood of Mutants was always made up of Mystique, leading Pyro, Blob, and Avalanche. So we got a Pyro a long time ago, and we got to Build-A-Figure Blob, so that's great. But no Avalanche. And I think there was one for the X-Men Classics, but it looked nothing like Avalanche, so a new one would be kind of cool. Also, while we're talking about X-Men, Mr. Sinister. We got one for the older Marvel Legends, but I think it's pretty clear that they're trying to pretend that those old Toy Biz ones didn't happen. and trying to do their own thing. And I think a new Mr. Sinister would be pretty cool, because that old one, it wasn't very good. I remember buying him and I was so excited to finally get a Mr. Sinister and Marvel Legends, and then got it home and I was like, yeah, I had one from the old X-Men toys before Marvel Legends that I thought was better than this. So a new one, I think he's a very, very prominent villain, or at least he was back in the day, and I definitely think he should get his own figure, a new figure. Number 5, another figure that hasn't been made by Marvel Legends, either Toy Biz or Hasbro. And this could be a Build-A-Figure. Build-A-Figure Sauron. Sauron was one of my favorite X-Men villains. I loved him. He only showed up very quickly in the whole Sinister story arc when that first happened. But then he got his own 2-part episode where he was basically taking on the X-Men by himself. That was such a great episode. Savage Heart. That's how good of an episode I thought it was. I remember the name, and no, I did not just look at the box. But yeah, Savage Heart. Can't remember the season, but him and Storm fought, and he had her lose control, and some giant rock monster came out, absorbing her energy to reanimate himself, and then Sauron went there, declaring that only he could rule the Savage Lands, and he started absorbing that guy's power, and next thing you know, you got these two ginormous villains just duking it out and just, laying waste to everything. It was a really intense episode. I liked it. But anyway, I think Sauron's way overdue. Way, way overdue for his own character, or for his own figure. We had one way back in the day in the early to mid 90s where we got a Sauron figure, and he got a couple repaints, but that was it. That's all we've gotten ever since then. No actual Sauron figures, and that's really disappointing. Number 6, and this is me being biased, but Mr. Knight, which is the they're over there. In the newest Moon Knight editions, which at first I didn't really like reading, but now I'm actually kind of more into it. Moon Knight's got 2 personas that he's really utilizing. You don't see him outside of the costume very much, which is refreshing, because a lot of times you get all that drama of being, a regular person, but you have a secret identity and stuff like that. But he's not focusing on his regular persona. He's just going out and doing his crime fighting thing. So, but when he's getting his information, he's in this plain white mask and this plain white suit, and he's just completely white, straight down. And it's at first I was like, that's stupid. That can't be his new costume. But it's not his costume. That's his civilian clothes, just all white. So it's really cool to see. Especially when he does things like beat the shit out of people, and he's got like bloodstains going down his white gloves and stuff like that. Or there's one, it was a really good episode a really good comic where there wasn't a whole lot going on. Some girl got kidnapped, and he found out where she was, found out how many guys there were and how many floors there were, and he would just beat the ever-living hell out of everybody on the floor, and he'd be like, that's floor 1. And he'd move up to floor 2 and do the same thing. So it'd be really cool to see it. And it'd be very easy for them to do, given the Coulson mold that came out not too long ago that was in a nice business suit. All they got to do is give him a different mask, paint him white. Maybe a little bit of shadowing. That's it. It doesn't get much more simple than that. And I would buy that figure in a heartbeat. Number 7, mid-90s Beast. I have one. Here we are. I have this one from the old line, and it's a decent figure, but like the way the joints work on the hips are kind of hideous, and just the way he looks, he's just not a very good Beast. So I would like to see a fresh Beast. Um, so yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Number 8, back to Moon Knight. But a Moon Knight in the Vengeance of the Moon Knight armor. I love that armor. Carbonetium armor. It had plates, fixed all over it and such. And again, it would go back into being a really easy figure for them to make, because they could just take the movie Iron Man and retool it a little bit and give it a cape and a new head, and there you go. You're good to go. Because the new movie Iron Man, he's got the plates here and there. And that's exactly how the Vengeance of the Moon Knight looked. Just, it was carbonetium instead of actual armor. Or metal armor. Well, I guess carbonetium is metal armor. Yeah, so I mean, I think that would look pretty cool too. Really easy. Number 9. And this is one that it's like they've gotten close twice, but they haven't done it. Or they got close once, and they're going to get close next year, but they still haven't finished it. They haven't done it right, and they're not doing it right for the next set. That's just irritating. There's no reason for this. But there is a Build-A-Figure Onslaught. Now I remember Onslaught was such a huge thing back in the day. When that first happened, and then everybody was like talking about it. I remember that thing vividly. It was a huge event. For me and my friends, it was bigger than Death of Superman and Breaking of the Bat, because it was Marvel, and it was like we're tying all these comic books together, and there's all this stuff going on. I mean, it went through pretty much every comic book at the time. It was huge, and then to find out later on that it was actually the combination of Magneto and Xavier's minds merged together, so it wasn't really even a physical entity, and it was just like, oh man, this is bad. So I love that, but the first time it happened, it was a huge event, and I loved it. Second time it happened, I didn't even know it happened, to be honest, and that's the figure that we got from the original Build-A-Figure line. He's got like the backwards knees and some sort of like skeletal bug face, and that's not the Onslaught I wanted to see. I wanted to see the one with the Magneto-esque helmet. And then we're going to get one early next year in a Captain America wave, but it's not Onslaught. Instead, it's going to be the Red Skull Onslaught, which I'm sure a lot of people are really excited for. But I think I'd be a little bit more excited if it came with either the Red Skull that you can use or the Magneto helmet for the head, and have alternate heads for it. I think that would be really cool to see. But we're not going to see that. And number 10, X-Men villain Shadow King. A figure that would be so easy for them to make, because they could get really creative, and they actually probably could just take one of the symbiotes and resculpt it a little bit, and there you go. But there's a character that I think the only time he's actually gotten a figure was the Age of Apocalypse from before Marvel Legends, and the Age of Apocalypse figure came with a little glass canister with little smoke and eyes and a smiling face, and I think that was supposed to be Shadow King, if I remember correctly. So it'd be kind of cool to see a new Shadow King. And there are 4 figures I would like to not see in the near future, even though I already know that we're going to see at least 2 of these. But no Spider-Man. We've gotten a lot of Spider-Man lately. Let's focus on a few other things. No Captain America. We've had quite a few Captain America figures, and we're even getting another. One's at my store right now from the Thanos wave, and then we're getting another one not too far down the line that has a werewolf head. I'm not quite understanding that reference, but it has an interchangeable head. And then number 3 is Iron Man. Of course, too many Iron Mans. I mean, they did the entire waves of Iron Man, where it's just Iron Man and War Machine, and it's just like. And number 4, Hulk. I mean, you saw how many Hulks I had in my Hulk War video, and well, there's still more out there. Those were all Toy Biz Hulks. Those weren't even the Hasbro Hulks, and there's so many Hulks out there. It's just boring. So yeah. So what are your top 10 Transformers you want to see in the near future from Hasbro? And what are your top 10 Marvel Legends figures you want to see from Hasbro? Remember, we're not talking about MPs. We're not talking about the third parties, because those lists are going to be huge. But yeah, there you go.